Hey everyone, for those that don't know, I'm Kellie. Today I wanted to bring some beautiful, insightful messages to you, being raw and honest and real, about greater love. And I just want to be so natural as much as I can in the way I speak. I'm very mindful of this video because I don't usually put out videos. I don't like being in front of the camera. So I'm going to try and be just as natural as I can be in front of the camera. But I have some exciting news first up. My book is released today and it's called Flying Without Wings, a true story by me. And it is so exciting. This book has been in the works for a while, and I'm going to read out the synopsis to you guys so that helps you understand what I'm going to talk about. But today, basically, I want to share a little bit about the story. Well, actually, no, not about the story. I'm just going to read the synopsis because I'd love everyone to buy the book. But there's a lot of messages in this book, and what I want to share today, though, is the greater story to help everyone in general, men and women, but also extended to those twin flames and twin souls, divine masculine, divine feminine, in every way. So for everyone on the planet, my book I know will help and reach. I'm traveling this life with a beautiful divine masculine, twin flame, twin soul, whatever you want to call them, because I know there's so many different labels. For me, I'm just gonna say, you know, he's my one true love. Sorry, I just get so emotional because I just am so in love. And that love I have seen in this world is lost on so many people. And I get emotional because I've not always expressed that love. I've not always said, I am so in love, and just shouted that out. Not that I need to shout it out, but you know what I mean, coming from my heart and soul. Because even though, and this is a big message to women out there, and I am sorry for getting teary, but this is a message for women out there. So many of us get stuck in our masculine energy, and a lot of us, it's hard for us to go into our feminine energy and express that, because a lot of us have either been hurt when we've been younger. We may be scared of the masculine energy. We may be scared of, like, actually the masculine energy in a male form, in the male body, for some reason, which was what was my issue, one of my issues that I had to work through. And I cry now with tears of joy because I'm so proud of myself, because I've been through so much in that regard. And I also went through a lot with this true love, this incredible love, when you meet your one on that deeper level. A lot of people have different illusions about love, and that is because of what we've been shown and programmed to believe. So I know I'm stopping and jumping around here, but I just want to explain before I get into reading my synopsis and also explaining about love, is that love shows up in a lot of different ways, in different forms. And it's not always how we expect it to be, which is such a beautiful thing. And life gives us a very distorted view of love through social conditioning and programming, because they tell us that love looks this way, or should be this way, or it should be with this type of person. And you know, I don't want to get right into all of that side of it in this video, because that's for a separate video, I guess. But in terms of, you know, we all understand about equality in love: gay, lesbian, race, colour, religion, age gap. And when my divine masculine, my true love, showed up into my life, we had, he was a lot younger, so we had quite the age gap. And that really threw me off, because I had all these feelings and emotions and everything for him, not to mention even like the connection. And I knew who he was, and I knew, I didn't know the big picture of who we were at the time. And since on my journey, it's been, was over 10 years ago when my divine masculine found me. But through our journey, I have obviously taken my spiritual path, tapped into my wisdom and my gifts, and discovered, and our soul records, and discovered who we are, like by the many downloads and things that I have done, and been shown and given, plus other readers and world-renowned healers out there that have kind of gone wow, you know, about who we are. And it's not here about it's not to talk about hierarchy, but we are one of the original sets of twin flames, twin souls, whatever you want to call it, from the original God consciousness, divine source cut. So God creator consciousness, whatever you want to label it, we are one of the original. And there's only been a few channels of channelings to the original, I would say, the original ones, and maybe others, there's about, you know, how many sets of these twins there are. And there's said to be 12 sets of the originals on Earth, which is 24 human bodies, like 24 humans, 12 sets. And I was told back in 2015 that we were one of the original, and I knew, because we were very different to a lot of others walking this path. So I just wanted to give you a bit of that information, because when I met my divine masculine, when he found me, there was a lot triggered. And the divine love, spiritual love, was something that, strangely enough, I'd felt before growing up, and I talk about it in my book. So for me, when we met, it was like triggering a gazillion different things in my life that I had pushed down and, you know, put in Pandora's box, and kind of thrown away the key. And but along with that, it also triggered, you know, a gazillion different memories and pain and hurt and rejection and fear and abandonment and guilt and all, and being shamed and all sorts of things. So that was a lot. That's a lot of shit to be triggered with. And I didn't really react over the years in ways that I wished now I had of, but that was me. That was my divine masculine showing me the mirror to work on myself, to become the best version of myself, to come back to that beautiful place of self-love, which I didn't have. I didn't love myself at all. And I know that I did the same for him, because that's what this journey's about, right? Like, it's, well, no, I'll take that back. It's part of the journey. So part of the journey is for us, for the formula as such, if you would like, is to find our way, to be able to find our way back to divine love, ourselves and each other, is that, you know, upon meeting, we reflect the mirror and we do our inner work and find our way back to our true authentic self, and not being afraid to share that and to be that love. And that can take different amounts of time for each person. It can take a short time for some, it can take a long time for others, because it depends how much we resist, how much we're in denial, how much we really want to go and work on ourselves, how much, you know, all of that sort of stuff, which a lot of you all know. So today I want to talk about this love as opposed to other loves. And one of the reasons, and this video is for everybody, it's not just for people with a spiritual love, a true flame, true one. It's not just for those people, it's for everyone, because my message to everyone is about expressing love, knowing when you're in love, feeling it, allowing yourself to open to feel that love, be that love, share that love, and not worrying about anything outside of you, because you know what it is inside. So not worrying about what it looks like to others, not worrying about judgment from others or the outside world. And this can come up with things like age gaps or race or gender or, you know, culture, like depending on who I was going to say to who God or divine source has chosen for you on this path, but I truly believe that we all have chosen this path. We all come in with a divine blueprint, which is a contract, a soul contract, and we all know, and I know my twin and I have come in for this contract together. We are one of the leaders, and we are here to show a greater love, and this is why we've chosen to have the age gap at this time. And what our big message is to everybody outside that greater love, obviously that is the big message, but is that it can show up in any form, and it's not conditioned to what we are told or believed. It's not conditioned to what society tell us it looks like or it is. And that people can have this love in different, you know, they can be, as I said, it can be outside the box. Love does not fit in a box. Love is boundless. It is limitless. And people that are here to help humanity, to be leaders, or, you know, whatever you're here for in that way, we're here to show the ultimate true love. So, and what I mean by this is that humanity have really made a mess of love, to be honest. There's a lot of people that are scared to love. And I talk about love, greater love, and love in my book. There's a lot of people that shut down their hearts because they've been hurt. There's a lot of people that run from it, like I did, because they think, what is, you know, oh my God, it's triggering everything, and what, instead of, you know, like, let's just run from it all and let's just go and hide in other relationships, or go and hide somewhere else, or go to a different country, or whatever it is that we do to run from it instead of facing it, because it's facing us, it's facing our mirror, it's facing ourselves. But with what's happening at the planet, and I'm sure everybody knows or has some idea that we're all ascending, and what's happening with the planet, and you're kind of probably living under a rock if you haven't figured out what's going on. So this three-dimensional paradigm that we've been living in on Earth, where Earth's frequencies have been, Mama Gaia has been at, she has now raised to fifth dimensional frequency. So anything that was constructed or been living in that three-dimensional paradigm is no longer, and does no longer work, and it's all collapsing. And what it is we're leaving the Iron Age, and we have moved into what's called the Golden Age, the Age of Aquarius. And this has been in the works for many years, but we're coming to these crucial years now where it's all just, it's kind of like, imagine Earth saying to us, you know, I'm going to give you X amount of years to get your shit together, and if you want to, you know, you're on board me, so if you want to come with me, you come. If not, then you leave the planet, and, you know, your soul goes back home. So it's a bit like Earth saying, I'm giving you, you know, time to get organized. And this has been going on for years, and a lot of us have been ignoring it. I'm not saying us as in I hadn't been ignoring it. I have been doing my work and knowing it's going on, but there's still a lot of humanity that are not awake. There's still a lot of us light workers out there, star seeds, twin flames, ascended masters, you know, that we are all trying to help the leaders, being leaders, all trying to help awaken souls, awaken people in different ways. But these are the years, you know, 2018, 2019, 2020, and like these have been the years that it's kind of like, get your shit together, or, you know, you can't come with me type thing. And I'm just trying to put it in more simple terms for people to understand, because I want to help everybody out there that is, if you're even not awakened, or if you're sort of awake but I don't understand it, I want to say it as simple as I can so you kind of understand what's happening. So with that being said, the original golden age, the original love is unconditional love, and and it's taking us back to divine love. So creator, the creation of us, the creation of everything, creator source love is this unconditional, pure, divine source love. And these connections, these loves, twin flames, twin souls, what we've come in to do is to show people this greater love, okay? But also coming together, our light and that love just magnetizes just incredibly, and, you know, hundreds and thousands of times more than the individual one of us. And this is what we then share. It goes so much deeper, which I won't go into here, but it goes so much deeper with what we're really doing with the planet and to help humanity. So this is basically, we're here to teach a greater love and to break down those illusions of love in a physical paradigm relationship, of how they're meant to look, or who they're meant to be with, or what's meant to happen. But part of doing that is us doing our work and not being afraid to share that deeper love. And what I've found on my journey is that a lot of us divine feminines have been in our masculine energy, and we've been too afraid to face up and talk to our divine masculines and actually say, you know, vulnerably open our heart and share how we feel and say that, wow, you know, we are so in love. There's a different vibration when you say to someone, I love you, to when you say to someone, I am so in love with you. Like, it goes deeper into your core of your soul, your being, who you are. It opens your heart, expands your heart, and you feel that expansion, not contraction, because so many of us have this contraction going on inside, you know. So this is expansion. And if you feel contracted in any way, then take that as a sign that there is still work, there's still something in there blocking you. You know, you're blocking yourself with some feelings and with something. But one of the other things I just want to share is that for what I find with Divine Feminines and what happens is that, and this is a big message of the Divine Feminine, that in light of what's happened when you meet somebody or your divine partner and or soulmate, no matter what sort of level, I suppose, the connection is on and the love and who you are, there's this kind of feeling that the feminine have, that when they don't open their hearts and they don't share their true feelings to this person through fear of rejection, because that's what it is, it's fear of rejection, it's being scared that they will be rejected. But what happens is often their divine masculine will reflect that back to them by running off, or by going into other relationships, by being with somebody else, like a karmic relationship. And basically what we fear happens because although it can be upsetting and distraught, they're helping us to work through our fears, just like we're helping them work through things. So one of the messages I really want to share with them, and sorry, I'm just really uncomfortable the way I'm sitting here. That's why I'm a bit losing my train of thought. My props are not really set up that great, but the feminine, that's where I was, wasn't I? I'm going to give an example of me, and this is the easiest way I think I can share it with others. So my divine masculine went off into a karmic relationship with another person, and which was my greatest fear. So he reflected that back to me. So that I had to work through that. And the fear that he, I guess, didn't want me, was going to tell me he didn't love me, all those things that society have programmed into us, you know, that because we're shown that if somebody you know, loves you, or you're meant to be with somebody, they will tell you, or they'll be, you know, and this is what people in this connection get from the outside world, where others don't understand, because this is very much a different, like divine love's different. So a karmic relationship, karmic love, it's all conditional. You can be with someone to fill your voids, you know, you'll never find fulfillment in yourself. You'll always feel that loneliness, or that missing piece, or that, trust me, I know. You know, it might be fine for a while, but it all has an expiration date, and that's because we're filling our voids. We're looking externally to fill everything, not internally, and so we never seek that internal self-love, fulfillment, everything on our own. And this is where we need, you know, this is where it takes us inside, so we show each other the mirror. So they can go off with somebody else and be in that karmic relationship, and they can even say to you, you know, that they don't want to be with you, or they don't feel the same for you, or whatever it is, okay? And what I find with a lot of women is when that happens with their divine masculine, they freak out and they run to someone else, and they think, oh my God, you know, I've just been crazy this whole time. It must not be what I'm feeling, and they start to doubt themselves and all of this crap, and they run to someone else because that's the rejection. So instead of, though, standing in their sovereignty, standing in how they feel, and go, no, okay, well, if you want to come with that stuff, come, you know, you say that's where you're at. Although they are you're doing the work together on that spirit, on that soul level, okay? So remember that. So this is just not some level connection where you can go off and I'll find someone else. It's not a game show. It's not a reality show. It's not like, you know, I'll just pick this, you know, I'll go on Perfect Match, and will I pick door 1, 2, or 3? No. You know, behind the door. It's not that sort of stuff. Okay. So they are reflecting to you. So when the feminine freaks out and says, oh, okay, and doubts, okay, this is where you need to go deeper. And this was one of my biggest messages, without getting into it all, is that for me, this happened to me, and for me, I had a lot of people outside of me that were really not helpful, like really trying to say, yeah, you know, you need to go and find someone else, or you need to just forget about it, or, you know, or telling me, like, how dare someone else tell me how I feel, you know, like, or, you know. So, but I realized that, you know, the universe places people in your life to help you with that, because if you can't stand up and be in your sovereignty and your true self and say, no, I know I'm in love, I know how I feel, I know this connection energetically, because energetically you are one. So you share one energy field, you share one consciousness, okay? You share the same soul. And there's a lot of people out there that you know, have all different stories about this, but basically you are the same part of your spirit in two human bodies. There's a whole other part of this, scientifically, which I'm not going to go into. However, it's not about just going, oh, well, you know, I'll vibrationally match with somebody else and I'll go over there. No, it's not about that. And I really wasn't going to get into this on this video, but I've been directed this way, and I keep getting told, you keep talking, because there's a lot of divine feminines out there, and maybe some masculine, that are going, you know, this is not working, or I don't want to, you know. And what it is it's the person, the individual, so the divine masculine or feminine. It's when you don't want to go deeper into your work, okay? It's not about going, oh, well, he or she's not a vibrational match for me, so I'll just go and find someone else who is. No, it's that you're being triggered, that you've got to go deeper. It's about you. Can you honestly, you know, go right into the depths of your core, and have you stripped back all those layers to get to the depths of self-love, to know who you are in your sovereignty, to not worry or need validation from your divine masculine or feminine, because that's the mirror they show. Until both of you can step into your truth and say, well, despite what anyone else says, or despite what he or she says, wow, I'm so in love. I share this incredible divine spiritual love. They are me and I am them. We share an energy field. We share the same soul. They show up in me, how I show up in them, like all this sort of stuff. Because whatever it is that is keeping the physical separation going is in both of you. So I'll give you an example. Because we're one of the original set, I've been shown many times how our energy works, but I've also been guided and shown by our higher self and our higher divine angelic guides, our crew, of just how delicate our energy is. So we both share exactly the same feelings and emotions. So whatever's one's going through will go through to the other. Now, neither one of us might realize that it's coming from the other, but that's what's happening. So after studying our energy for so long, I can now feel when it's me and when it's my beautiful beloved. But I also know that what's showing up in me is showing up in him. I also know what fears I have is fears he have, or vice versa. So it is really the balance of the two, and I'm being guided by Source to really stress that they're saying that a lot of divine feminines out there that want to walk away from their divine masculine, or have had enough, or whatever, you will know in your soul, like, it's about digging deeper. And I'm also finding that a lot of and this is coming through, that they do, I wasn't going to talk about any of this on this video, I really wasn't, but it's just, you never know what you meant to say. I've also been told that to say that the ones that have been any of the, I don't like to use the word fake, but let's just say any of the twin flames, twin souls that have the catalysts, or people that are still wondering, is he or she my twin? they were being shown to people at the moment, and they will be like no longer. And the ones of us that are here in these true twin flame connections, true divine soul spirited love connections, will know, will know. You'll know deep in your heart and soul, and you'll just know. And you may get triggered with certain things, but you'll know. You may even resist and all of that, but there's like this undeniable knowing inside that you are a true, real twin flame on this path, and you won't need to ask anybody else, pardon me, if you are, or if this person is your divine one. And that's something I've never ever had to ask on my journey, ever. Pardon me. And people even around me have said, so this is my throat now, so this is part of the divine feminine. It's telling me, speaking our truth and really coming out, and not being afraid to step into what we know, even if your partner hasn't validated that, or because it's not about that. It's not about validation. We as individuals have to step into our sovereignty first on our own, not needing any validation from anyone outside of us. So I would love to now just read the back of my synopsis, which I was going to, the back of my book and the synopsis, which I was going to do ages ago, but this is how videos go. I'm up to 31 minutes. I might just plug in, I'm sorry, I'm not organised with this sort of stuff at all, and my phone goes, my battery. Okay, let's try that. So this is my book again, and this is the back, and I'm just going to read out the synopsis. Imagine travelling your life from a 3-year-old with an invisible friend, an energy spirit friend that is part of you, showing you the most profound love of existence, a love beyond this world. The feeling of living between two worlds with them, and the knowing that this true love exists and will come to you someday, somehow. Always asking and reaching for it in your physical presence. Kellie recounts her journey and experience of growing up with this unique love, her knowing she is an old, advanced soul, and her struggle to fit into this world and all around her, feeling the desperation to be accepted like everyone else whilst not realising the privilege she was born with, her remarkable account of being born into the X generation, being guided through the 70s and 80s decades that most changed the world. From the spiritual revolution to modern age of technology, hiding her profound experience in a time where high awareness consciousness within this world was limited. The secrets, peer pressure, continual masking to hide her true self, living from fear of judgment and being ostracized rather than truth and love. She will take you on a journey which will leave you on the edge of your seat, wondering if in fact her beautiful energy love did join her in this world. So, it makes me emotional even when so from that, if you listen to that, you kind of understand what my journey has been like. There is great messages in here for all ages, and as much as sharing my journey with my true love in spirit form first, before he then came into my life in the physical, I had blocked a lot of that out. I had blocked so much of that out, and when I really fully connected with myself further and further over the last few years, going deeper and doing my inner work and, you know, knocking down those walls, opening those Pandora boxes, I was able to unblock a lot of stuff, and there was bits and pieces I'd remembered, but when I really went into it all and unblocked a lot of things, I was able to work through each thing one thing at a time to unblock. And so you have to read the book to find out more about that side of it. And just I go through some amazing things in the 70s and 80s. 80s was more my decade. I was really too young for the 70s, but I had an older brother that sort of enlightened me with a lot of stuff at a young age. So I've got stuff in there about that, but it's a lot of it's about masking and just not really sharing our true experiences that are happening with us through fear of judgment. And I feel that a lot of us carry this into our adult life. I sure did. And so you know, we're programmed in a lot of ways to believe certain things, but I knew this greater love my whole life. There's a part in the book that I say, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a part in the book where I say that I didn't need to die and go to heaven to realize a greater love, because you know how people talk about when they have near-death experiences and they cross over and then come back. And say, oh my goodness, you know, they talk about what it was like and that greater love and how it's weightless and just beautiful. And so I had a very profound upbringing, you could say, an experience, and this is what I've wrote about in my book. Spirit has guided me. I would never have written this book. Spirit guided me to write this book to bring a greater awareness to humanity, and which it will do. However, today I guess I just wanted to finish with that in talking about this love and saying to the and I you know, my message is to everybody, but I've got to be honest, it's really more so to the divine feminine, about really open up and declare your love, and don't be afraid to say how in love you are. Not just I love you, or you've got to open that heart. And why, you might ask, do we have to do it? Why isn't our divine masculine lining up to do it? Well, I've got an answer for that as well. And that is because we, the feminine, in the female body, are breaking down all the old Iron Age society patriarchy programming. So anything that used to be where the male would dominate, but dominate, we're not talking about in a beautiful divine masculine, nurturing, leading, powerful, you know, warrior form. We're talking about men that have dominated from control, from manipulation, from, you know, abuse, from sexual abuse to the female, or, you know, anything like that, where they've dominated with money, where they've anything that has caused the female, right? And I'm not talking masculine and feminine energies here, I'm talking about the female in the female body. So anywhere there's been any type of paradigm or programming or, you know, template of the men treating women with disrespect, not honouring them in any way, and taking charge and being in control and anything like that, that's going. That's all breaking down. It's all collapsing and smashing, and it's not going to be no longer. So it's for the divine, this is the rise of the divine feminine, for the female to step up and take her power back. And again, I don't mean in that feminist, you know, now, you know, I don't mean about women being in their masculine now and doing all that, because it's gone too one-sided. It's just about, it's about women having to step up now and honour themselves, respect themselves, and not be controlled by a male, you know, in the male body. And our beautiful beloveds, our beautiful divine masculine, our men, are helping us to do that. that's what our soul is working together to do, even though we're not in the physical maybe doing it, but yet we're doing it in our soul is always working with both of us, so we're doing it together. And your divine masculine could not allow you to accept anything less, because that's what we're here to show others. So there'll be no, like, you know, conditioning and programming and conditioned love and anything like that. And this is why we have to break down all those barriers and work through that, and that's what it's about. So in terms of, you know, when you might say, well, why do we have to lead, or why we have to do it, or why do we have to say it first, or why it's not about, it's about, first of all, it's about coming into the balance together, but also it's about the old system. If you think about it, because I had to think about this, the old system was about, oh, well, the male usually asks the female out, or the male will you know, will guide or lead or do this sort of stuff, you know, and that's a very old conditioned system, if you think about that. So how to me it makes total sense why it's up to the female to have that strength and power and step in her own true self and sovereignty, to be able to own it and honor herself and respect herself. And then blowing up out here, and then when that shifts in you, it shifts in your your union, it shifts in your love, it opens up the whole spiritual love and connection. It just does. So I have probably waffled on, and there's probably other things I wanted to say, but my greater message today is about love and just being really open to that and sharing it. And it doesn't matter if the one that you love is not open and sharing it, or the, you know, people around you are saying anything. It's about you and what you know inside, and it's about you and what you know, stepping into your sovereignty and owning it, and just being love and having that beautiful love and understanding for your beloved as well, and them, you know, not running away from it, not saying, oh, well, you know, they're not coming and talking to me, or they're not saying anything, so I'm just going to run over here with someone else. It's not about that. It's not, this is not about that at all. So beautiful ones, I'm going to close now with saying I extend such love to you all, and hope this has helped some of you out there digging deeper. I'm really hopeless when it comes to doing videos because I don't like them. So I hope I've shared, I had a few notes here, I hope I've shared what I needed to share. Just help us, you know, break that illusion. This love, I just want to finish with saying that if you have this love, any type of love with somebody else, just really hold that so sacred to you. These loves, these divine loves, are so, so sacred. And it really does break my heart when I hear people say, oh, well, you know, I'll just run over here and find somebody else, or I'll just, because if it's not that sacred to you, like, then they're not the person. If you do not love this person to the depths of your soul, and it's endless, and it's just so, and it honestly, this is why I tear up. It is so beautiful that you would cry, you know, you would be tearing up. It is that so sacred, 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 sacred love. It is. And this is, you'll know this is where you need, you know, if you're not feeling that it's that sacred, then you're in ego, then you have more work to do, then you're in resistance. Or maybe if you're just sort of listening to me now going, well, you know, maybe he or she is not the person for me because, you know, I never even thought of it as being sacred. But but in saying that, you could also be in ego. So when we're in ego, and you know, here I go again, communication. Source is saying there's a lot of people not communicating this love to each other. It's about communicating, and they're saying that do not be afraid to communicate the love with your loved one. Do not be afraid, because if you know in your heart what you know, that this person is for you, that this person is your sacred divine partner, then they know too, deep in their heart. And there could just be a fear around communicating that through feeling rejected or being rejected. So it's about releasing that fear of being of thinking that you may be rejected, and some of you may have already attracted that fear to you, like I did, and have been through being rejected. So once you've gone through that fear, you don't have that fear anymore because you've faced it. And that's the good thing about it. And when I look back now, though, at when it happened to me, I was in fear. Gosh, I was even in... It's crazy. I was even that scared to talk to my divine masculine face to face, or to reach out in case he got angry, that I even got someone else to do it for me. Hello, like, of course he's going to react that way. I can't even speak. Back then, I couldn't even message him myself out of being scared. And they feel that. Whatever you're feeling, they feel. So as we grow and evolve, and like our divine other will always show us the mirror, and to push through to the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. And that is the most beautiful thing about this love and connection. So again, I've just been shown, and my voice is okay again now, so it's communication. So it's source saying, and I'm picking it up, that they're saying that there is barriers that we create for ourselves that make it harder, that don't need to be there, and it's a lot simpler than what it seems. It's a whole lot simpler just with communication, and not to be afraid to reach out. So that's what I'm getting. So maybe you can ask yourself, do you think you're the one in fear of the communication now, or is it your other one that's in fear of the communication? Or, you know, obviously everyone's different. You need to look into the situation of what happened last, like what the last contact was, how that went down, and to know kind of who you think you know, is whether it's right for you to communicate or for them to communicate. That's what I'm being shown and told, and energetically, and just keep staying in that self-love. So for me, I had a major epiphany recently where I could just cry and let it out, and I was so in love with myself, and I just went, oh my God, I'm so in love with my beloved, my divine masculine, at the same time. It's like I'm so in love with myself and I'm so in love with him, and I just want to shout it from the rooftops. And I was just, and I had this amazing, you know, and it was, and I came to that point, like I always knew I was in love, but it was like a lot of us don't say it, you know, because of the situation and the connection in what's going on. We just don't want to come out and say it, you know, for fears or whatever it is. So yeah, so that's the messages I've been asked to bring forth today. obviously we all know this comes back to self-love first, self-worth, really knowing your worthiness, and also being in that place and extending that beautiful beautiful unconditional love and worthiness and self-love as well, like through the energy to your divine one, so that they know that they just need to be themselves and that they're worthy in every way, and to love themselves, and you know, all that sort of stuff, as we know. So and to those that don't have this connection, or just, you know, out there listening to this, it's about really stepping into these loves, greater loves, and taking off the blinkers and realizing that it can come to us in any way, in any form, in all its uniqueness, and being open to it in any way. Don't shut down, and don't worry about judgment from the outside, people or anything like that. It's just all illusions. It's all illusions. So, all right, beautiful ones, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again soon. Namaste. Much love.